Well, let's take us back to the story in Libya where attacks and clashes between the revolutionaries and the forces loyal to Muammar Gaddafi continue there. To discuss the situation more, we're joined all the way from Washington by Webster Tarpley. He's an author and historian. Doctor, welcome to the programme. First of all, what is your assessment of NATO's bombings in Libya? How come there is no media coverage of the repeated bombardments of Tripoli?
Well, this is the deceptive stealth profile of the Obama regime. Obama never talks about Libya. You can look in major Italian newspapers and see that there's absolutely nothing about Libya from day to day. So it's a very unpopular war, and the ruling elites have decided to simply be silent about it. But they can't be totally silent. Right now in the Congress, you can see a rebellion brewing. On the one side, you have Senator Lugar, a prominent Republican in terms of foreign affairs, who's not happy with Obama. Lugar, of course, threatened by a Tea Party candidate in the primaries next year. You've also got the Webb-Corker resolution, which would force Obama to come to the Congress to get permission to continue the war in Libya. And we have to remember that as of the 20th of June, just a little bit more than a week away, Obama will be impeachment bait if he has not gotten the permission of Congress or stopped the U.S. role. But I think the most important political potential for Obama on this is the House Republicans, especially the Tea Party. Now, these are people who would like to have the United States default on this debt ceiling issue, and they're being told by their Wall Street paymasters that that's not possible, so they're going to have to vote for a debt increase. So they will be desperate to find some way to act out their hostility to Obama. And given the belief structure of many of these Republicans, voting to put an end to the war in Libya is a very definite way for them to act out this hostility. So I think that's another potential factor. Now, a third complex, we have Robert Gates, the U.S. Secretary of Defense, in a rather hysterical speech saying that NATO is running out of bombs, at least the British and the French are, and that the contribution of the European NATO states is totally inadequate. I think this points to the fact of overstretch. Just in the past week, Obama has added a new war. We've now got Predator drones attacking in Yemen. That gives us Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Pakistan, and now Yemen. 5 wars. At what point does overstretch begin to kick in and relieve some pressure on the Libyan front, especially as President Ahmadinejad of Iran has reminded us, the United States is preparing a move on the Pakistani nuclear forces. That would mean essentially open shooting war between the United States and Pakistan, and even beyond that, the crisis around Syria is taking a very ugly turn, and that could easily turn into a regional war.
Right, Doctor.
With scenarios that we could develop if we had time.
Now, Doctor, what are the NATO air raids in Libya aimed at, really? I mean, it's assumed that the United States can take out Gaddafi anytime it wants. Is the United States letting him stay in power to justify more destruction in the country?
No, I don't see that at all. I think Gaddafi is a very wily and effective opponent, and I don't see the ability of the United States to eliminate him at any time. However, we do have leaks out of the recent NATO meetings with Obama attending them in Europe that the U.S. policy now is a stalemate descending into chaos where most of the country would go chaotic and the United States and some allies would seize enclaves around oil resources that they considered important. So a cynical strategy. But we also have CIA Director Panetta at his confirmation hearings to become Secretary of Defense saying that the resistance by Gaddafi has blocked the entire process of color revolutions that the U.S. had planned across the Arab and Islamic world, what they call reform movements. It means a combination of street demonstrations with military coups behind the scenes. Gaddafi has basically blocked all of that.
And of course, finally, what is your assessment of the opposition's moves and their international status at this point?
Well, when you have a so-called opposition that calls in NATO airstrikes, that celebrates the murder of 3 little children a couple of weeks ago when the Gaddafi grandchildren were killed, when you have people who are eagerly demanding Predator drones to come in and ravage their own country, in other words, an opposition that says, come and let's turn Libya into a new Iraq or a new Afghanistan, a failed state, a new Somalia. I think these people deserve the opprobrium of the entire world, and I think they're on their way to getting it.
All right. Oh, I'm sorry, we'll have to leave it there. Many thanks to you, Doctor. That was Dr. Webster Griffin Tarpley from Washington.